All right, Shalom. I'm going to start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rahaf, Badash. Double honors to the apostles and elders and bishops at Great Millstone for teaching me this truth. Shalom to the hopeful elect on the highways and hedges pushing the truth. It's your brother Rabbi Knapp coming out with a lesson. Lord's will is edifying. As a matter of fact, I was looking at something in the news again. A lot of things going on in this world. If you're not paying attention, you should, because it affects you, okay? A lot of these, these articles that are posted, hey, you should check them out. Okay, it says Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, who's the president of Ukraine, shared a video showing one of two Chinese nationals who were captured in the war-torn country's Donetsk region. So Russia, they're allies with the Chinese, man. Okay, and they're fighting the Ukrainians who are backed by your government. The European Union and NATO. The Biden administration was giving them your tax-paying dollars. Well, guess what? On the other side of that, they're fighting against Moab and Edom, okay, or Russia and China. Okay, the two soldiers were allegedly fighting as part of the Russian army. So people are getting geared up for war, man. It's not all about, that's why that price of gold is going up so much, man. It's not a good thing, man. When the price of gold's over $3,000, I think it was $3,250, hitting record highs. Because eventually what's gonna happen is the Chinese government, they're storing they're getting their money in gold because they know these tariffs is gonna come to naught, man. And Apostle Tahar just did a video on Revelation, the 18th chapter, showing you why they're gonna be mourning for the loss of all this money, man. And he said that's starting now. Okay, he's saying they're mourning right now because they're not going to be able to sell these cheap products to you Babylonians anymore. Okay, all the way coming manifesting the thermonuclear destruction. It's going to start economically. It might even hit, what do you call it? You're gonna see the famine. You're gonna see the goods. The uprising, all this, when shit starts to increase, life gets harder, long story short, man. People are gonna be more cold, it's gonna get more wicked out here, man. People are gonna start robbing, stealing more. Esau's not even gonna be safe in these last days, man. Nobody's gonna be safe in these last days. The more and more this place starts to deteriorate. All the way, ultimately, into World War III. As you can see, it's already kicking off with Moab coming in through the Russians and fighting against this place. So technically, you already at war with Moab, with the Chinese man, by the way. This is what this is saying. It says the two soldiers were allegedly fighting as part of the Russian army, with potentially more men from China in Russia's ranks. More men from China in Russia's ranks, man. So Zelensky's telling you, man. Didn't he tell Duck maybe about a week ago, a month ago, whatever, when he was sitting in front of J.D. Vance in the Oval Office, they were supposed to be talking about some rare material deal, rare mineral deal, and he told Duck, listen, you got a nice seed, but eventually, long story short, roughly paraphrasing, hey, you gonna get touched, man. This war is gonna come to you, and you're gonna see how it feels. But you okay for now, but it's gonna come to you. And this is what he was talking about, which Zelensky called a clear signal that Putin intends to do anything but end the war. So what is Duck talking about? He's saying he's gonna bring peace. He's saying he's gonna stop the war. He said he was gonna do that in 24 hours. But look at where we're at today. This is news that just came out yesterday. So where's this peace gonna be coming from? Huh? Where is it coming from? It ain't coming from Duck. As a matter of fact, let's start there. I think it's Isaiah 48. Let's start there, man. See if I can grab it. So this is what you got to keep your eyes open for, man, and not be in that docile state that Babylon got y'all in, man. Isaiah 48 in verse 22. There is no peace, saith the Lord Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, unto the wicked. Okay, there's no peace for the wicked, man. The wicked have a purpose down here. It's not to just, make peace on the earth. That's definitely not his purpose, man. His purpose is to bring war, evil. And our purpose is to condemn this devil. It's the book of Revelation, chapter 6, and verse 4. And there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another. And there was given unto him a great sword. Exactly, he was given unto him a great sword. Who was given a great sword in the scriptures? You should know whose blessing is the sword. It's the so-called white man Esau Edom. It's the book of Genesis, chapter 27. In verse, as a matter of fact, let's start in Genesis 25. In verse 25, and the first came out red all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. Okay, Esau in Hebrew is Ishashua, and it means wasted away is he. It's the book of Genesis 25 and 30. And Esau said to Jacob, feed me, I pray thee, with that same red pottage, for I am faint. Therefore was his name called Edom. Exactly, and that's Esau, Edom. Genesis 27 and verse 38. It says, and Esau said unto his father, hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth and of the dew of heaven from above. And that's why he has the fatness of the earth and from the dew of heaven from above. He has everything. Okay? And by thy sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass when thou have the dominion that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning my father are at hand. Then will I slay my brother Jacob. Exactly. And he's going to slay you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. All right? Because of Genesis 36 and 8. Showing you who the hell Esau is. Genesis 36, I'll start at 1. Now these are the generations of Esau, who is Edom. Exactly, these are the generations of Esau, who is Edom. And it's Genesis 36. It's spiritual, man. There's always 666, man. That's this man's number. Genesis 36 and verse 8. It says, thus dwelt Esau in Mount Seir. Esau is Edom. So now we know Esau is Edom. Okay, we already determined that in Genesis the 25th chapter, but it's reiterated in Genesis the 36th chapter. Genesis 36, in verse, block you, 43, Duke Migdal, Duke Iram. These be the dukes of Edom, according to their habitations in the land of their possession. He is Esau, the father of the Edomites. Exactly, he's the father of the Edomites, just like Jacob's the father of the Israelites. And he said, after mourning the death of my father, then will I slay my brother Jacob. And that's what's going to happen. We getting at the end, meaning the end of times, the end of days, when we get closer and closer to World War III. Hey, that's the end of this world, the end of his age, okay? According to 2nd Ezra 6 and 9. Describe that, as a matter of fact. You got to know these scriptures. This is Israelite 101. Even if you don't believe, it's good to know the breakdown of these scriptures. Ask your pastor, because you need to know it. 2nd Ezra 6 and 9, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth, okay? He's the beginning of it that followeth. It's the end of Esau's world, because he got a boundary that he cannot pass, according to the book of Job 14 and 4. Let's grab that. It's the book of Job, chapter 14, verse 4. Who can bring a clean thing out of an unclean? Not one. Seeing his days are determined, the number of his months are with thee. Thou hast appointed his bounds that he cannot pass. So he got bounds that he cannot pass. Okay? Just like every other kingdom had a bound that it couldn't pass. The Persians had a bound that they couldn't pass. The Greeks bound that they couldn't pass. Okay? The Medes bound. Everything bound. Assyria bound. Just like Esau. The only kingdom that's meant to rule forever is Yasharallah. According to Daniel chapter 2, in verse 44, and in the days of these kings shall the Most High God of heaven set up a kingdom, which shall never be destroyed. And the kingdom shall not be left to other people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. So that's Israel. Their kingdom's going to stand forever. They have 40 years of peace under King Solomon and King David, but that came to an end. Why? Because of you transgressed the laws according to Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter. And the Lord said, I'm going to send all these curses upon you. And that's why you suffer in the curses, and you got to pay taxes to the so-called white man. This is the book of Daniel, chapter 2 and 45. For as much as thou sawest that the stone was cut out of the mountain without hands, and that it brake in pieces the iron, the brass, the clay, the silver, and the gold, the great God had made known to the king what shall come to pass hereafter. And the dream is certain, and the interpretation thereof is sure. So it's telling you it's not going to fail, okay? The interpretation thereof is sure. He's explaining to Nebuchadnezzar the vision that he had. He had a dream. He couldn't explain it, but Daniel was able to explain that dream to him. And he said it's sure. You can bet your life on it. And that's just like this word. It's pure. It's the book of Psalms, chapter 12, and verse number 6. The words of the Lord Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai are pure words, as silver tried in the furnace of fire. Psalms 12 and 6. The words of the Lord Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai are pure words, as silver tried in a furnace of earth, purified 7 times. So his word is purified 7 times. Look at it, it's still here. It condemns the so-called white man, but he still publishes it all throughout Babylon. You all got a book in your car, in your house, and you don't understand the understanding of it. You don't have the knowledge of it. But the Lord sent pastors to feed you so he can teach you. Jeremiah 3 and verse 15, and I will give you pastors according to my heart, which shall feed you with knowledge and understanding, because you need to know this knowledge and understanding. There's no point in having a book that was written thousands of years ago and not having any understanding of it. Don't you think it might have some type of understanding in it that could apply to you? Why does this book even matter? Why are the sales still going up every time you hear these bad calamities coming? Because Israel got a zeal, but it's not according to knowledge. Let's grab that. Hey, the water Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, it's 144. This is the book of Romans, chapter 10 and 2. For I bear them record that they have a zeal of the Most High, but not according to knowledge. What does that mean? That means you know there's a God and you want to serve him, but you serving him not according to knowledge. And what's the problem with not serving the Lord according to knowledge? You get destroyed. This is the book of Hosea, chapter 4 and verse 6. My people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge, because thou hast rejected knowledge. I also will reject thee, that thou shalt be no priest to me. Seeing that thou hast forgotten the law of thy power, I will also forget thy children. Yeah, your law of your power, man. You can't forget that. Because if you ain't connected to your power, then you're powerless. You connected to your enemy's power, and he has the power to shut that on and off. And then ultimately, the Lord has the power to shut him off, and he's going to be shutting off Esau very soon. All right? This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 6, and verse 16. Thus saith the Lord, stand ye in the ways, and see, and ask for the old paths. Where's the good way, and walk therein? And ye shall find rest for your souls. But they said, we will not walk therein. Yeah, we're not going to walk in the law, statutes, and commandments. Why ain't they walking in the law, statutes, and commandments? Because they hate the Lord. Ultimately, they hate hearing about the Lord, man. It's the book of Proverbs, chapter 6, and verse 23. For the commandment is a lamp, and the law is light, and reproofs of instruction are the way of life. So they don't like the way of life. They don't want light. They want to continue to grope in noonday. If the Lord has sheep, and he's telling you he's your shepherd, then you're going to hear his voice. You're going to follow him. But if you don't hear the voice, it's because the Lord ain't messing with you. You've been rejected. According to Jeremiah 6 and 30. Reprobate silver shall men call them, because the Lord have rejected them. Just like this pure gold, pure silver, that's what the nation of Israel is, man. And if you've been rejected, the Lord ain't dealing with you, and you ultimately going to be destroyed. Just like the dross that you are. You don't know what dross is. Dross is the impurities that go in the gold and silver. That you don't want that. Because you just add a weight to a metal. You're trying to pay for the pure gold. You're trying to pay for the pure silver. You don't want tin and all that other crap in it. This is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 22, and verse 18. Son of man, the house of Israel is to me become dross. All they are brass and tin and iron and lead. In the midst of the furnace, they are even the dross of silver. Yeah, they're the dross of silver. I don't need that. But the dross is not going to make it through this purification process that the Lord got about to bring here, man. He's using the so-called Chinese man, Moab, to clean out economically the so-called white man, Esau, so he can subdue him under the feet of his son, Yahweh Shai. And under him, we're going to rule with him. Because he has the power over who runs the world. And he's starting to see that wickedness that Esau was supposed to fulfill is coming into the heavens. And he's going to slam down his sword on him. Ultimately with his son in this thermonuclear destruction. Ezekiel 22:19, therefore thus saith the Lord Yahweh, power, because ye are all become dross, behold, therefore I will gather you into the midst of Jerusalem, as they gather silver and brass and iron and lead and tin into the midst of a furnace, to blow the fire upon it, to melt it, so will I gather you in my anger and in my fury, and I will leave you there and melt you. Exactly, he's gonna leave you there and melt you. Okay? All the impurities, he don't want that. But the elect, his men, he gonna bring them through the fire. It's the book of Zechariah, chapter 13, and verse 8. It says, and it shall come to pass that in all the land, saith the Lord, 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die, but the third shall be left therein, and I'll bring the third part through the fire, and will refine them as silver is refined, and will try them as gold is tried. They shall call on my name, and I will hear them. I will say, it is my people, and they shall say, the Lord is my power. And we're going to say that when we are part of that number, when we are on the chariots, standing so stiffly for the names of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Why aren't y'all, if you believe in so-called Jesus Christ, standing up stiffly for the name of Jesus Christ? Because you don't believe. There's a different vibration that comes with serving the so-called white man. And it's a weak-ass, homosexual-ass vibration. That's why your church has got all these different rainbow colors on the church doors. And it's not to remind you the covenant that he made with Noah. No, it's to remind you that this is wickedness, man. And the Lord is pretty much defiling your temple. And ultimately, Esau, he's going to use Esau to really defile your temple with this MOTB that's coming. Okay? Since you want to trust this devil, man. And he's using Moab, so-called Chinese man. Okay? Let's matter of fact, it's the book of Zechariah, chapter 2. No, sorry. Zechariah 2:8. For thus saith the Lord of hosts, after the glory have he sent me unto the nations which spoiled you. For he that touches you touches the apple of his eye. Exactly, touches the apple of his eye, man. If you want to mess with the nation of Israel, the Lord's going to come. He's going to touch you now. All right? You read the book of Deuteronomy, the 22nd chapter, tells you if a woman's being great, well, the woman, Israel, Zion, is like a woman unto the Lord. And Esau, Edom, is over her, where he's not supposed to be. And that's why he's going to be destroyed. Jeremiah 6:2. I have likened the daughter of Zion to a comely and delicate woman. Exactly, he's a comely and delicate woman, a beautiful woman. That's how he looks at the whole nation of Israel, which are you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. But because of your idolatry and your spiritual adultery, while you following these other gods, you committing fornication. You're making. You already know that the Lord's a jealous power, but when you serve these other gods, you making them jealous, and because of that, he's punished you because of that. Okay, he's the one who's destroying you because of your wickedness. It's the book of Revelation. Let me get my phone, man. It's the book of Revelation, chapter 12. In verse 17, and the dragon was wroth with the woman and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which keep the commandments of the Most High and have the testimony of Yahweh Shai Hamashiach. Exactly, man. is dragging Esau, Edom, going to make war with the remnant of the seed of Israel, man. The remnant of the seed of Israel is talking about the elected Israel. That's why these digital epistles are going out to wake up the elected Israel, man. We don't care about everybody else hearing the word or not. It's only for the elected Israel. They're the only ones who are going to take heed to the Lord. And they keep the commandments. You Christians and Catholics don't keep the commandments. You don't know any of these laws. You still eating pork. You still practice homosexuality. You ain't standing up for the Lord. You're not condemning this world. All the wicked abominations that are going in the midst thereof, you ain't standing up for it. You just walk around proud like the so-called white man Esau Edom. The hell out of here. Doing nothing for the Lord. And what's the spirit of prophecy? You don't know. It's the book of Revelation 19. No, man. It's lock it. Revelation 19, verse 10, and I fell at his feet to worship him. And he said unto me, see thou do it not. I am thy fellow servant and of thy brethren, and have the testimony of Yahweh Shai HaMashiach. Worship the Most High, for the testimony of Yahweh Shai is the spirit of prophecy. Okay, now you know what the spirit of prophecy is, man. You should follow it. Meaning to say before. That's prophesying, man. That's what the Lord did. He told John the Revelator, write down everything. And he wrote it down. Did he just write it down so he could not say anything about it? Why did he have him write it down? What was the why? What's the importance of it? This is supposed to be the most important figure in all the world. This is the book of Revelation, chapter 10, verse 8. And the voice which I heard from heaven spake unto me again and said, go and take the little book which is open in the hand of the angel which standeth upon the sea and open and upon the earth. And I went unto the angel and said unto him, give me the little book. And he said unto me, take it and eat it up, and it shall make thy belly bitter, but it shall be in thy mouth sweet as honey. And I took the little book out of the angel's hand and ate it up, and it was in my mouth sweet as honey. And as soon as I had eaten it, my belly was bitter. And he said unto me, thou must prophesy again before many peoples and nations and tongues and kings. So what's that telling you? It's telling you he has to come back and be in his lot. Because we know, according to 1 Corinthians 14 and 32, the spirit of the prophets are subject to the prophets. Okay? 1 Corinthians chapter 14. I'll start at 1. Follow after charity and desire spiritual gifts, but rather that ye may prophesy. Exactly, but rather that ye may prophesy. You want to prophesy. You want to know how to say before it happens, so you can store up riches in heaven. And Lord's will, you be a part of that number so you can be delivered in these last days. 1 Corinthians 14 and 2. For he that speaketh in an unknown tongue speaketh not unto men, but unto the Most High. For no man understandeth him. Howbeit in the spirit he speaketh mysteries. But he that prophesieth speaketh unto men to edification and exhortation and comfort. Exactly, man. That's what our people need, to be edified, to be exhorted, and to be comforted with these words, because they're the sheep of the Lord. They don't understand why the things are the way they are, because they're not a part of this world. This world belongs to Esau, and he's Jacob. If he has this understanding, then that can be comforting to him. It can heal him a little bit more when you have the understanding of why these things are the way they are. If you keep going the wrong way and never repent, well, you're going to keep going the wrong way. But if you turn back and follow the directions that the Lord gave you, then hey, that's going to lead you to the destination, which is ultimately those chariots that the Lord's bringing to come save his elect. This is the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 14 in verse 32. In the spirits of the prophets, I start at 1 Corinthians 14 and 31. For ye may all prophesy one by one, that all may learn and all may be comforted. Yeah, you might all prophesy, man, one by one. And that's what you see on these highways and hedges. They prophesying, man. They're not just trying to be out here being ignorant. Nah, we're trying to lead you back to the sheep, lead you back to the water. 1 Corinthians 14:32. And the spirits of the prophets are subject to the prophets. Exactly, you subject to the prophets. Your spirit is the same spirit that it was in the back in the day. In the wilderness, when the Lord was trying to get you, you were complaining about cucumbers, you were bucking up against the Lord. So they're the same rebellious house that the Lord is talking about. And he told Ezekiel to go prophesy to them, but he told them it was a rebellious house. They ain't gonna hear me, so they ain't gonna hear you. He still told them to go prophesy. And guess what? And sometimes you gotta prophesy to the wind, because sometimes ain't nobody listening, but guess what? You gonna be storing up riches in heaven, man. That's all it's about. It's the book of 1 Corinthians 14 and verse 39. So like in verse, I started at 37. And if any man think himself to be a prophet or spiritual, let him acknowledge that the things that I write unto you are the commandments of the Lord. Exactly, this is Paul speaking, all right? Let you think yourself to be a prophet, let me read that again. 1 Corinthians 14:37. If any man think himself to be a prophet or spiritual, let him acknowledge that the things that I write unto you are the commandments of the Lord. So they're commandments. So take your hat off, man, when you're prophesying out here, man. It's a commandment of the Lord. If you calling yourself a prophet, this is the book of 1 Corinthians 14:38. But if any man be ignorant, let him be ignorant. Heck, you want to be ignorant? Let him be ignorant, man. It's all the will of the Lord, man. It's not up to you if you can be ignorant or not. No, the Lord deceived you, man. The Lord don't want you. He wants you to be ignorant so you can go teach your ignorance to the rest of the ignorant people that are out here that ain't hearkening to the words of the Lord. It's the book of Job, chapter 12, verse 16. With him is strength and wisdom. The deceived and the deceiver are his. Exactly, the deceived and the deceiver are his. Whose? Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. 1 Corinthians 14:39. Wherefore, brethren, covet to prophesy and forbid not to speak with tongues. Yeah, covet to prophesy. Just like you covet to be like the so-called white man, man. You want his riches, his glory, his houses, you know. You want to live like him. You ain't willing to suffer like the Lord had to suffer just so you can still remain and have breath. If it wasn't for him, hey, we would have been like Sodom and Gomorrah. Let me grab that as a matter of fact. If it wasn't for the Lord, man, this devil would reign perpetually over the nation of Israel. He'll start creating tubes to grow you Israelites in and probably use you as human meat, just for human sacrifices if it was up to this damn devil. We would have been like Sodom and Gomorrah. I think it's Isaiah the first chapter. It is. I know it. I want to rely less on technology, man, because that's where this world's going, man. He wants you fully dependent on him for the answers. When you want to be drinking water out of your own cistern, okay? You want to be able to get into this book, man. This is where all the answers you need. You want to be, this is our Urim and Thummim. Isaiah 1:9, except the Lord of hosts had left unto us a very small remnant, we should have been as Sodom, and we should have been like unto Gomorrah. Exactly, would have been destroyed. Who's the nation of Israel? But because the Lord made a sacrifice for the nation of Israel, we were allowed to come back into the good grace of the Most High. If it wasn't for that, if it wasn't for the Lord, hey man, we'd be screwed. Okay? And the so-called white man didn't do that for you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, you damn fools. He ain't died for you to get right with the Most High. He's a damn Edomite. This is the book of Matthew, chapter 1, verse 21. And he shall bring forth a son, thou shalt call his name Yahweh Shai, for he shall save his people from their sins. Exactly, he shall save his people from their sins, okay? Not everybody sins, man. Everybody wasn't given the law, statutes, and commandments. The only nation that was given the laws, statutes, and commandments was the nation of Israel on Mount Sinai through Moses. It's the book of Leviticus, chapter 26, and verse 46. These are the statutes and judgments and laws which the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai made between him and the children of Israel on Mount Sinai by the hand of Moses. Moses gave these laws to you, your people. Okay? That's it. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 147. Psalms 147 in verse number I'll start at 17. He casteth forth his ice like morsels. Who can stand before his cold? He sendeth out his word and melteth them. He causeth his wind to blow and the waters flow. He showeth his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgments unto Israel. He have not dealt so with any nation. And as for his judgments, they have not known them. Praise ye the Lord. So the other nations haven't went through the law, Salakia, brain freeze, man. Not brain freeze, but a brain fart, man. They didn't go on slavery on ships. Okay? They didn't do that, man. They weren't suffering the curses in Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter. That's just one of them. All right? No, the nation of Israel went through these things. Who was the sword put upon, man? Did the Assyrians go slaughter everybody in the northern kingdom? Was the whole world in Jerusalem when they got taken down? Was the whole world under King Solomon? Who was King Solomon praying for? Was he praying for the whole world? No, he wasn't. It's the book of Isaiah. There's a couple precepts that are clinging me right now. Isaiah chapter 40. He didn't do that with everybody, man. But that's what these Christians tell you so you can continue to walk in great darkness. They got churches all over the world, but everyone remains in darkness. There's people that actually think the Lord is all different colors. There's a doctrine out there. Y'all ain't speaking up against that. Why aren't you Christians talking about the Catholic Church, man? Nothing to say about that. I was talking to somebody last night. I don't know if it was a he or a she. I'm assuming it was a woman. But you can't assume in these days, man. Okay? But once they said they were Catholic, they was just thinking you're a damn devil, man. You're probably into all type of witchcraft and idolatry. Okay? So that's why I was like, yeah, because that's why you got those damn rainbow flags on your church doors. Look at Isaiah chapter 40 and 16, actually no, 15. Behold, the nations are as a drop of a bucket, and are counted as the small dust of the balance. Behold, he taketh up the isles as a very little thing. In Lebanon is not sufficient to burn, nor the beasts thereof sufficient for a burnt offering. And you notice that when Balaam setting up all these different altars, but Balak trying to put curses on you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, and the Lord didn't allow it to happen. Okay? And he's saying Lebanon is not sufficient to burn as a sacrifice to the Most High. And it looks like they're trying to burn Lebanon now. But guess what? It's not sufficient to burn, man. You can't you can't cut the nation of Israel from the Most High. Isaiah 40 and 17, all nations before him are as nothing, and they are counted to him less than nothing and vanity. Okay? So now we know who the Lord is dealing with, man. Zechariah 2 and 8 tells you that the nation of Israel, that hey, you're the apple of his eye. Whoever touches them, you're going to pay for it. And Esau Edom has been putting his hands all over you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. And he's never been prosecuted for that. Well, the Most High is going to make sure he has his day being judged. Isaiah 40 and 18, to whom then will ye liken the Most High? Or what likeness will ye compare to him? The workman melted the graven image, and the goldsmith spreadeth it over it with gold and casteth silver chains. He that is so impoverished that he have no oblation chooseth the tree that will not rot. He seeketh unto him a cunning workman to prepare a graven image that shall not be moved. Have ye not known? Have ye not heard? Have it not been told you from the beginning? Have ye not understood from the foundations of the earth? It is he that sitteth upon the circle of the earth, and the inhabitants thereof are as grasshoppers, that stretches out the heavens as a curtain, and spreadeth them out as a tent to dwell in, that bringeth the princes to nothing. He maketh the judges of the earth as vanity. And he's gonna do that with Esau, man. He's gonna do that with Esau, man. He's gonna make it vanity, man. He almost got hit by a car. Yea, they shall not be planted. This is Isaiah 40:24. Yea, they shall not be sowed. Yea, their stalk shall not take root in the earth, and he shall also blow upon them, and they shall wither, and the whirlwind shall take them away as stubble. Yeah, all your idols, all your graven images, all that's going to be destroyed. And we pray for the day where the Lord destroys all these churches, all these false religions, all these false people, and all the wicked, man. And 2/3 of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, man. We pray for these things for your destruction. Why? Because you're never going to repent. You're never going to come back to the Lord. Isaiah 40:25, to whom then will ye liken me? Or shall I be equal, saith the Holy One? Lift up your eyes on high, and behold, who have created these things, that bringeth out their hosts by number. He calleth them all by names, by the greatness of his might, for that he is strong in power, not one faileth. Why sayest thou, O Jacob, and speakest, O Israel, my way is hid from the Lord, and my judgment is passed over from my power? Yeah, you think so, but you're gonna see that judgment ain't passed, man. So if you don't want to repent, that judgment's coming to you. Okay? You think he forgot about it all, but he didn't. All right? He didn't forget about it, man. I think the judgment passed. We're gonna see if the judgment passed when your ass get cooked. As a matter of fact, I wanted to grab something. Yeah, this is that Chinese man. Okay? I think that's two different. I can't tell. I don't know. But it says that's one of two Chinese nationals. So that's just one of them. Okay? You grab another article. It says the officer in charge of a U.S. Space Force base in Greenland was stripped of her command after she sent out a mass email that distanced herself from statements by Vice President J.D. Vance and the Duck administration days after his visit last month. New York Post reporter Caitlin Dornbos shares this story. Yeah, I wouldn't want to be part of their Space Force either, especially when you're the Space Force that's supposed to be fighting against Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua. You're going to be destroyed. She probably an Israelite, okay? Because if the Lord's dealing with you, He's going to remove you from any type of military capability of Esau's army, man. He's going to pull you out of there. She sent the worldwide email to all of them. And there's a Space Force in Greenland, man. If you think that Space Force is so you all can go to Mars or so you can protect Babylon, no. It's so he could fight Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua. It says the Space Force announced late Thursday that it removed, it says COL, I don't know what that means. Susanna Mayers as leader of Pitafik Space Base for loss of confidence in her ability to lead. Yeah, loss of confidence in her ability to lead because she don't trust the president and his vice president. She don't trust that they can lead her. She don't trust that they can win the battle. Ultimately, it's because the Lord don't want her in there. But she looked like an Edomite. But you don't know, she might be a Jake. That's what the Lord can do, man. Might remove you from a position, you might not know why. It might hurt you to know that you lost your job, but in all actuality, it's for your good. Okay? Jeremiah, let me grab that. 29 and 11, for I know the thoughts that I think towards you, saith the Lord, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you an expected end. You know, so hey, who knows why the Lord does what he does? His thoughts are not our thoughts. Isaiah 55 verse 8, for my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, saith the Lord. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts. Exactly, man. So he's moving around, and he can move pieces around any way he wants to give you that expected end. Okay? Lord's will, that expected end is salvation. It's the book of Psalms 37 and verse 37. It says, mark the perfect man, and behold the upright, for the end of that man is peace. Exactly, man. You want to mark the perfect man, watch it. For the end of that man is peace, salvation. Sometimes the Lord will move things out of your way so you can get to the desired result that he wants for you. It says, commanders are expected to adhere to the highest standards of conduct, especially as it relates to remaining nonpartisan in the performance of their duties. The Space Operations Command statements read. Yeah, so hey, you never know. This word goes out. Next thing you know, people getting saved. This is the book of 2 Esdras 13 and 1. And it came to pass after 7 days, I dreamed a dream by night. And lo, there arose a wind from the sea, that it moved all the waves thereof. And I beheld, and lo, that man waxed strong with the thousands of heaven. And when he turned his countenance to look, all the things trembled that were seen under him. This is talking about Yahushua when he cracks those clouds. And whensoever the voice went out of his mouth, all they burnt that heard his voice, like as the earth faileth when it feeleth the fire. Exactly, when he opened his mouth, showing you is matching up with Revelation 19. A sharp sword was in his mouth. Revelation 19 and 11, and I saw heaven open, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True, and in righteousness he doth judge and make war. That precept reminds me of Django. At the end, when he went and saved his woman, then he was on the horse, he was dancing with the horse. The house blew up, it was on fire, and he went into, that's the end of the scene, man. Revelation 19 and 12, his eyes were as a flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns, and he had a name written that no man knew but he himself, and he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood, and his name is called the Word of the Most High. And the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean. And out of his mouth, this is the point, goeth for sharp sword, that with it he should smite the nations, and he shall rule them with a rod of iron. And he treadeth the winepress of the fierceness and wrath of the almighty power. Exactly, man. Out of his mouth goeth the sharp sword. And that's what 2 Esdras 13 and 4 is talking about. And after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men out of number from the four winds of the heaven to subdue the man that came out of the sea. So that's what these different space forces are for. Okay? They're here to fight the Lord. Okay?
Yeah, bro, that nigga speak truth to power. God bless you, bro.
Hey, stand back, brother. Stand back, brother.
Nah, you don't remember me from last year?
I remember you, but you being disrespectful. Let me read this to you.
I apologize.
Listen, let me read this to you. Because this is what's wrong with our people. Now, brother, look at this real quick. He brought you over. He wants to show you something.
Yeah.
But I got to...
No, don't take that way.
Listen,
He just firm on boundaries.
listen, brother. If you go into a church, let me stop you for a second. If you went to a church and did that, he'd be the crazy one, not me.
I would.
If you walk into that church right now, like, yo, I know the pastor, that's my dude, man, what's going on?
I was trying to give you time, yeah.
No, I know. But see, now he don't want to see the word. See, this is all spiritual art. This is spiritual. This is why I'm reading this to you.
Come here again. Yo,
No, the Lord don't want them. That's spiritual. The Lord sent you over here
I'm all ears.
for this. And I got to read this to you, brother. Ecclesiastes 5:1. Keep thy foot when thou goest to the house of the Most High, and be more ready to hear than to give the sacrifice of fools, for they consider not that they do evil. So you got to understand that, brother. Not everyone's doing the work of the Lord. I'm trying to read this. This is like a whistle, only for the elect. You get it? Because the so-called white man, he gonna destroy. You believe in the so-called white man? You say you pray to Jesus Christ, you Orthodox, right?
I don't like Uncle Sam, that's for sure.
But that's what you're doing, though. A lot of people, they pray to the so-called white man, and he gonna destroy them in these last days. They trust in him.
That's how we got it slavery.
Exactly, brother. Exactly. Hey,
Nah, bro. Much love, bro. I just want to show
he couldn't even look at the sign, brother.
It's not that. He's just too young.
He ain't too young. The Lord was 12 years old preaching in the temple. All right, brother. You have a blessed day, brother. This is the book of, where was I? 2nd Esdras, chapter 13. Little man ran, you see? Ultimately, it's because you can run from the Lord. He's still going to get you, though. It's because you're wicked. Okay? Ultimately, let me grab that. This is the book of John, chapter 3, verse 18. He that believeth on him is not condemned, but he that believeth not is condemned already. He was already condemned before he even walked up here. I didn't have a camera on him, but I told him, look at the sign. He starts walking backwards, man. Because he have not believed in the name of the holy, only begotten Son of the Most High. Yeah, he don't believe in the name. But ultimately, it's because the Lord rejected him, because he want to remain in sin. John 3:19, and this is the condemnation, that light is coming to the world, and men love darkness rather than light because their deeds were evil. That's why he was walking away from the light. Okay, because I was shining on his ass. And that's what he gets through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. Okay, you don't want to be in gross darkness, man. For everyone that doeth evil hateth the light, neither cometh to the light, lest his deeds should be reproved. He didn't want his deeds to be reproved, ultimately. He saw that the word was coming out and his spirit was getting cut up. But he that doeth truth cometh to the light, that his deeds may be made manifest, that they are wrought in the Most High. And that's what happened with him. You know, I think that's a Jake. That's the second time he came over. He thinks he's Ethiopian. But I do think he's a Jake. Okay? But if he's not, he's going into slavery. You know? Going into slavery, man. This is the book of Zechariah, chapter this is Zechariah. It is Zephaniah. Zephaniah 2:12. Ye Ethiopians also, ye shall be slain by my sword. Exactly. Ye Ethiopians also, ye shall be slain by my sword. So the Lord's not messing with you heathen either. Okay? It is what it is. That, all right? But he don't want to come to the light. That's ultimately because the Lord's not dealing with him, man. It's not hard to go look at a sign. Okay? It's very easy, as a matter of fact. Proverbs 28:1, the wicked flee when no man pursueth, but the righteous are bold as a lion. Exactly, you bold as a lion, man. Okay? The more you start teaching, the more you start preaching, man, hey, you got to defend the altar. You got to be like the Maccabean period, man. Okay? As I get stronger in the spirit, hey, you got to check these demons, man, because they're wicked. Because ultimately, these demons are going to try to attack your vessel in the long run. It's all spiritual. Okay? You ain't got to get carnal with them. But hey, you know, have some respect. Keep that foot, man, when you come to the house of the Most High. Be more ready to hear than to get a sacrifice of a fool. Okay? Be more ready to hear than to give the sacrifice of a fool. How you doing, brother? How you doing?
Man, how is everything?
Good, man. This book of Exodus, chapter 3, verse 5. And he said, draw not nigh hither, put off thy shoes from off thy feet, for the place whereon thou standest is holy ground. Talking to Moses, man. He had to respect it, man. And he was ready to hear what the Lord had to say. Okay? Because listen, man, the Lord, when the Lord's talking, man, let the word get out. Undefiled. He don't want the message to get messed up. But the Lord will send somebody at you and just to prepare you. That's why we come out on these highways and hedges, man, so we can get tested. Be a spectacle unto all men. Let me grab that. Spectacle. 1 Corinthians 4:9. For I think that the Most High have set forth us, the apostles, last, as it were, approved to death. For we are made a spectacle unto the world, and to angels, and to men. Let's look at this word spectacle. It goes in the theater, okay? But let me just grab it. It has a little more weight to it when you go into the root words of these words. An apostle just means sent forth. It's not, you don't want to be caught up in all these names and stuff, but that's all it means. Some people get offended by these things, man. But it's nothing to be offended about. 1 Corinthians 4:9, I'm looking at the word spectacle. It says a theater, a place in which games and dramatic spectacles are exhibited, and public assemblies held. For the Greeks used the theater also as a forum. It says a public show, metaphor, a man who is exhibited to be gazed at and made sport of. That's what you're supposed to do, man. So that's all part of it, man. They think this is a show, and it is a show. Okay? You got the angels watching you, seeing how you handle the situations. When they see you cut up a demon and like, woo, look at him, so cut him with Ecclesiastes 5:1. They like that. They like seeing that. Just like when we're gonna like seeing the angel of death chopping y'all up, man. We're gonna be amazed at, just like the Lord's work. As a matter of fact, he just dropped down another plane, man. The Lord is terrible, man. He just literally the next day. First it was the Hudson River. He took the Jesus nut out of the propeller and killed the whole family, man. And then the next day in Florida, he killed another 3 people, man. As a matter of fact, I think I got the article. Let me grab it. It says, fiery plane crash in Boca Raton, Florida kills all 3 on board. A small plane carrying 3 people crashed near the busy I-95 after circling repeatedly, killing everyone on board. That's terrible, man. The aircraft had apparently some mechanical issues and went down here on Military Trail. Michael LaSalle, assistant fire chief for Boca Fire Rescue, said at a news conference. So, mechanical failure. Okay? Dylan Smith was at his office when he saw the plane flying extremely low and appearing like it would hit the roof of a nearby building. I saw the plane basically turn, come back, and I heard it and saw it go over our building, Smith said. He lost sight of the plane, but said it then came back. It was looking like maybe it was going toward the nearby Boca Raton airport. I just saw it drop below the trees and heard a boom, Smith said. He said his office windows shook and he saw a fireball. So that's a witness, man. That was a witness. Destruction, death. Okay? Just like that helicopter, man. So, what does this mean? It means that the Lord's not dealing with everybody, man. And there's going to be a lot more. Just like I said last time when I was bringing it out, man. There's going to be more plane crashes, more death. All of these things, man. So if you ain't right with the Lord, man, hey, you're going to get caught. You're going to get caught in all these things. Okay? Matter of fact, am I done with out here trying to make friends with everybody, man. I ain't trying to make friends with nobody here, man. Shit. hands are a little cold. Let's see if I can grab this precept. It's Malachi. Shit. I can't even grab it, man. Let me. Where are you? 463. No, right at the Amos. It's the book of Micah, chapter 5, and verse 10. And it shall come to pass in that day, saith the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, that I will cut off thy horses out of the midst of thee, and I will destroy thy chariots. Exactly, man. That's a chariot he destroyed, man. Okay? Another chariot he destroyed. And he gonna keep destroying them. It's the book of Haggai, chapter 2. That's other than Haggai, it's a lot. It's a lot. That wasn't Haggai. It's the book of Haggai, chapter shit, man, I can't find it. Let me grab my phone so I Haggai chapter 2 and verse 22. And I will overthrow the throne of kingdoms, and I will destroy the strength of kingdoms of the heathen, and I will overthrow the chariots and those that ride in them, and the horses and their riders shall come down, every one by the sword of his brother. Exactly, man. He's going to destroy your chariots, and he's also going to make these nations fight up against each other to bring that desired result, man. This is just a sign, man. All right? This is just a sign. And he's ultimately going to destroy his chariots when we get those, when he raises up his elect. Okay, it's a lot, man. I'm all over the place. I'm trying to find that precept. Jeremiah 51. Jeremiah chapter 51, in verse number 20. Thou art my battle axe and weapons of war, for with thee will I break in pieces the nations, and with thee will I destroy kingdoms, and with thee will I break in pieces the horse and his rider, and with thee will I break in pieces the chariot and his rider. Exactly, he'll do that, man. But when you start to look at it, you're going to see that the Lord probably using Esau to destroy these chariots, man. And the rider. Just like the helicopter, they said it was the sixth ride. Okay? Would the pilot have anything to do with it? Nothing. Okay? Showing you, man, the Lord's terrible. The Lord is terrible. Isaiah 43 and 17, which bringeth forth the chariot and horse, the army and the power. They shall lie down together, they shall not rise, they are extinct, they are quenched as a tow. Exactly, he said he saw a fireball, man. They had to quench it as a tow, man. You know, like tows like we use to light up a candle. That's sort of like what it's like. You gotta quench it, man. You gotta quench the fire out. You gotta extinguish it. Jeremiah 50 and verse 37, a sword is upon their horses and upon their chariots, and upon all the mingled people that are in the midst of her. And they shall become as women, a sword is upon her treasures, and they shall be robbed. Exactly, man. A sword is upon chariots and their horses. So there's no escaping the Lord. Psalms chapter 46 and 9, he maketh wars to cease unto the end of the earth. He breaketh the bow and cutteth the spear asunder and burneth the chariot in the fire. And that's what he did, man. That's why Smith said, I saw a fireball. And he's going to do that with the rest of these nations when he starts taking them out, especially when he raises up these elect men to get that spiritual power. And they're going to, listen, they're going to have fun taking down Esau's chariots. Nahum, chapter 2, verse 13. Behold, I am against thee, saith the Lord of hosts, and I will burn her chariots in the smoke, and the sword shall devour thy young lions, and I will cut off thy prey from the earth, and the voice of thy messengers shall no more be heard. So once that gets destroyed, ain't gonna be no, it's a wrap, man. Okay? Lord has control over his creation. Matthew 10 and verse 29, are not 2 sparrows sold for a farthing, and one of them shall not fall on the ground without your father. Exactly, a bird can't even fall off the sky without the father knowing it, man. Okay, he's in control of his creation. All right, so if anything that's going on in this world, the Lord got complete control over it. So don't marvel at anything that's going on down here on the earth, man. Just make sure you're right with the Most High, and just trust that He gonna deliver you. And if not, your end is to die, then hey, it is what it is, man. Let the Lord's will be done. 2nd Esdras chapter 13 and verse 5. It says, and after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men out of number from the 4 winds of the heaven to subdue the man that came out of the sea. But I beheld, and lo, he had graved himself a great mountain and flew up upon it. But I would have seen the region or place whereout the hill was graven, and I could not. And after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were sore afraid, and yet durst fight. Exactly, and I was going into that because the woman said she left the Space Force, man. She didn't agree with what J.D. Vance was saying, man. But hey, through the Spirit of the Lord, man, she could be Israel, man. And she just got protected, man. Something in her spirit wasn't feeling that place or what he said, and she got up out of there. You don't want to be a part of that anyways, because 2nd Esdras 13th chapter, they were so afraid, and yet there's fight, meaning he gonna cause you to fight even against your will. And lo, as he saw the violence of the multitude that came, he neither lift up his hand, nor held sword, nor any instrument of war. But only I saw that he sent out of his mouth, as it had been, a blast of fire, and out of his lips a flaming breath, and out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempests. Exactly, he's gonna destroy these heathen when they come up against him. And they were all mixed together, the blast of fire, the flaming breath, and a great tempest, and fell with violence upon the multitude, which was prepared to fight, and burnt them up every one, so that upon a sudden of an innumerable multitude, nothing was to be perceived, but only dust and smell of smoke. When I saw this, I was afraid. So that's what Ezra saw, man, the destruction of all these heathen coming up against Yahushua. So if you had that understanding, you would want to get out of the Space Force too. Well, that's going to be your outcome. Dust and smell of smoke, powder. Okay? That's what you're going to be turned into. Okay? But that's it. I'm going to end it right there. Lord's will, that was edifying. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh. Bahashim Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Racha Kudash. Shalom, Abad Babal, Kwam Yasharala.